We are really in a beautiful moment of transformation. For so many years, for 1,000 years, nobody even heard about the goddess or the feminine. It was completely denied. And only in the recent few years that we started to get connected deeply with Mary Magdalene. She came as a fire energy to destroy the old patterns and build the new. We always had, at least us for the Western culture, it was all about Mother Mary. We love her so much. But the way she was presented to us, it was a virgin, a Jew, a submissive woman. And now with the science, these things are changing. We are learning together, and hopefully not cannot express yourself, that patriarchy is showing that doesn't work anymore, right? The way we build our structures are falling apart. And then a new era is beginning. And this new era is bringing this energy of the denied feminine into life, into reborn, into years back, I had a vision in a meditation of a goddess. She presented herself as Sophia. And I was like, what are you? Not the Greek goddess of wisdom, she was different. And she told me, I'm the goddess of creation. And I was like, eh? Then a goddess of creation, God creates everything. And then at that time, I couldn't find much, I didn't find a lot of information. And then later, I started to tap into old texts, information from the Gnostics, saying that yes, there was Logos and Sophia, the divine feminine energy, the compassion of God that supported the creation, the universe. And then now we are tapping back into that. Because for so long denied to create the structures that we have today, okay, we needed that. Of course, we are evolving as humanity, as a consciousness, as a planet. And where are we moving towards? Matriarchy. But the matriarchy is very different from the patriarchy. The patriarchy that we know stands as control, moving forward. The matriarchy is inclusive. Walk side by side with men, with others. Very, very different structure. It's not working yet. We are learning it. That's why we are sitting here together. Because we are the ones that are going to be bringing this into form, into creation, into a living way. I always like to say that for years I was searching for the fifth dimension, like how we're heading to the fifth dimension, as if it was a destination. And now I understand that the destination is not something separated from us. It's here. And it's happening. I am living in fifth dimension, not all the time, because this is a 3D world, a material world. But we are creating this. And as we tap into these spaces, we are already building it, creating this frequency, this resonance that expands as we are together, as we understand where we are heading to.
The only way out is in. So like for me, I had to really discover, okay, who am I? Like what makes me tick and what do I want? And then who do I, it's not about not finding somebody that I'm not going to have stuff with, because I'm going to have stuff with everybody. I'm going to get triggered, I'm going to have issues come up. But I kept going, oh, I've met the wrong person every time something happened. Oh, I met the wrong one. We can't work this out, I need to move on. But then I just kept running into the same, different person, but same dynamic, same thing. Until I learned how to lean in, I learned how to actually have every myself in a way like me. And then just by voicing that with my beloved, just saying that, the system kind of melts and I can, being fully heard. So it's setting the space so that I get to feel heard. But then my whole being changes, like I feel seen, heard, valued, understood in my worst perceived state. And then there's something amazing that happens there within my system. Oh my God, I feel great. So yeah, when I met Susanna, I had to go through I liked Susanna in the beginning way before she liked me. Lots and lots of rejection, Like there were little signs and I'm like, oh my God. Like walking down the beach one day and, our hands touched and she held my hand. I'm like, oh my God, yes, she likes me. Thank you, God, thank you, God. And then 2 minutes later, she's like, I just want you to know I don't see you like that. I'm like, what the fuck? So like, elated, destroyed, you know. And Susanna had a story that I was too old, you know, like I already had kids. I had a life before. I was a junkie and an alcoholic, and had a history of that. So she was not interested. I could tell she was a little bit. I could feel it in her body. So yeah, I had to go through all this rejection, and then it was in the rejection where I remember going to Limbongan. Like we connected once, like intimately, and then about a week later I went away to Limbongan, and then she kept messaging me and saying, "No, this isn't what I want. Can we just keep that a secret? Can we, just be friends? I just want to be friends." And so for me it was like a red flag. I was like, okay, this doesn't feel right. So I remember in Limbongan, and I'm like 2:30 in the morning. I'm standing on the veranda talking to the ocean. There's a full moon. And I just said, you know what? I love this woman with all my heart. Like with all my heart. But I need somebody who loves me the same way. So I choose me. And I was bawling my eyes out, and I was like, okay, I let her go and I choose me. In that moment, or the next morning, Susanna's walking down the beach where she lived in Kadungu, and she's like talking to the ocean going, my God, I've got this guy in my life who's more than everything that I wanted, and I keep pushing him away. Right? How do I keep pushing him away? So I was coming back to Ubud that day to tell her no, and she was coming up to Ubud to tell me yes. There's something to be said for letting girls go first. Ladies first, otherwise I might not be there. But the important thing is I had to choose me for it to energetically shift for her. So in choosing me, she was able to choose me. Yeah, I mean, I still had lots of work to do, and like sit with my little boy and allow this little boy to be seen and like in his woundedness and in his perceived ugliness. And like I say, through regular sharings, and this is what happened.
Yeah, our story is very interesting because I couldn't really connect to him until he chose himself. I couldn't see him as a potential partner. I could see him as a loving friend. I loved to spend time. I loved him since I met him. That's the truth. But it was not that romantic love that we all expect from the Disney movies. It was like, oh, I love to be around this guy. Like he makes me laugh, and we have fun. We think similar. We have same humor. And then that was it. And then that moment that he was choosing himself in front of the ocean, there's something energetically flipped. How important. And then here we can also talk about the energies, right? We were not even in the physical place. I was on the other side of Bali Island. And this happened. And then I was like, whoa, I felt my self-sabotator was holding me as well. Seen, ready to do my part. Yes, that's a little bit of our story. There's much more. Our story is very mystical. There's a lot of Mary Magdalene. Yeah, Mother of the Ocean, the Goddess of the Ocean, definitely this whole part. That's why we married. We chose to do our sacred union ceremony in front of the beach to connect with the energy as well.
Yeah, we involved the Mother of the Ocean, and a nice little confirmation. We were down in Uluwatu in Padang Padang. And I've got my waist-high water. I've got my hands in the water. I'm talking to Susanna and my other best friend. And this ring washed onto my finger in the ocean. And I was like, it was all rusted. It looked like it'd been in the ocean forever. And I put my hand up. I was like, what? And because I always joke around, and they're like, oh, fuck off. I just put it on there, thinking I'm mucking around. I was like, no, seriously, just washed onto my finger. So everyone's looking at it and they go, no, it's probably just glass or plastic. I said, who cares? It washed onto my finger in an ocean, And like Ruby has a special meaning for Susanna as well. So it was like this beautiful confirmation. And then when I got the ring, I wish they hadn't polished it. Like I went to get it authenticated, and they cleaned it up, and it's actually a ruby sapphire. It's a really, really beautiful stone. So it was like this confirmation from the universe, that okay, you're in the right place.
That I needed, of course.
I'll pass it around.
The Mother of the Ocean married him first.
Yeah.
He's quite taken.
I didn't want to go swimming at first because I was like, oh, maybe she thinks I'm hers.
So yeah, this is a little bit of our story of connecting. And then as soon as we enter in our relationship as we chose to be together. I also had this guidance to do our ceremony in a different way because marriage for me was something that didn't really resonate. I come from a country, Brazil. It's pretty tricky when you look the marriage there. Or at least the way I had around me, it didn't serve me. It was something that I couldn't connect. It was, yeah, it was very thick. I will use this word to describe it in a general way. That was very thick. So really commitment. And I was like, absolutely, if this is marriage, I just don't want to be in it, right? So one day I received this guidance that Dean and I would have to bless each other, see the divine in each other. And that's when I understood. I was like, oh, this is really serious. We have to embrace deeply, not just the human part within ourselves, but be able to see the divine in each other. And for me, at least, I needed that definitely. Fully into the emotions and rituals and things that change my frequency and my connection with understanding where I'm heading to. So the
I
secret.
learned to listen to my work.
So yeah, then we had received the date that it was the 22nd of September of 2022 to do this ritual. When the date came, I was like, there is nothing there. Just later I realized, oh, actually there is the equinox. We were already entering the energies of the equinox. So it was a portal. So that's how we had our sacred union. My inner marriage, that's how I called the day I married myself. It was on the solstice, and also I didn't pick the date. It was just meant to. So I understood that there is a beautiful alignment. Before that, I didn't even care about these portals, you know. So it was very interesting, and I'm sharing this because maybe for you guys also resonate something. But or today is a portal as well. 999, 999, and 25 is also 9. In this moment, the energy is stronger. So it's a good time to really fall into alignment. And 9 is the number of conclusions. So it's a good time to let go, close things that doesn't serve, things that you want to let go forever and shift and call in new things.
And we have something. Ah, really? Congratulations. Today? Ah, congratulations.
For how long?
Pretty cool. We have something about that 20 seconds as well when the solstice is coming up, right? Maybe share
Yeah,
that.
so we are doing the sacred circles on a specific date, and we are gonna be guiding again the sacred union gathering on the 22nd of September. Instead of going on a holiday and celebrate our anniversary, we chose to do another mixed circle that we can have time and space to connect deeply. Because here it's nice, we have time to talk and share, but it's short. And in this space, we have a bit more time. We have more time to understand how we operate, even how men see the world, how women see the world. So it's beautiful. We witness a men's circle, they witness a women's circle, and that's much more.
So it's not just us talking here, guys. I want to maybe let's explore what's maybe in the way, what's working, what's not working, what's wrong for people. And I'm wondering maybe if a couple of guys want to speak to like what's challenging about being a man nowadays, just to give us some insight into what it's like for men and women. Right? So does somebody want to speak to what's the most challenging thing for them about being a man nowadays?
I would say for me it's the control aspect. I mentioned earlier when I introduced myself that being here in Ubud kind of opened up something where for the first time in my life I've not felt stressed since I've been by myself. It's been quite like such a breath of fresh air actually. But the big challenge for me is having this almost like a tug of war with the what I understand as the masculine and the feminine of like my masculine side wants to control and have assurance in like all my actions. If I do this, then this is going to be the outcome. And not having that answer in a transition in my life right now from a career aspect where I don't, the way I described it the other day is I feel like a shark trying to swim in a fish tank, and I'm still trying to fit the mould of the previous fish that I was, and I'm like not really like leaning into like now being in the ocean, and that's where I kind of feel like I'm at in my career now, is I'm still trying to portray myself as this fitness guy, but I feel like there's more to me than the fitness guy. I feel like there's a lot more in me to give in terms of life experiences and helping guys. And I share a lot with my clients, male clients, just about my own challenge, my own experiences. The biggest one now for me is just surrendering to not having all the answers. Like all my life I've been I would say I've been very logical, and I'm always trying to just like, I just want to know that everything that I'm doing is going to give me the results that I'm looking for. But I'm not even sure if that's the direction that I want to be going anymore. So it's, I'm secretly, how did I put it the other day? In a non-stressful way, I'm stressing, if that even makes sense. Like I'm quietly feeling a bit rocky. I don't know if any guys would understand what that means, but I think a big part for me is really just trying to surrender to not having an answer and just trusting that I'll find the answers, they'll come to me. And it's very uncomfortable for the masculine side of me. There's been conditioned for so many years of trying to get the answers and be so sure that that's what the outcome's going to be. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. Yeah.
Anyone else? Any other guys? Yeah, I'll jump in after that.
Thank you. Thanks, Ryan. Yeah, the biggest challenge for me as a band is having this unknown direction. I think as a masculine, it's like, we're going here, it's going to be this time frame, it's where we're heading, you're coming with me, and we're going to do it. And yeah, coming to Bali, there's open to feminine for myself as well. And I find learning to surrender is a challenge. But also maybe for myself, I've come to the conclusion that maybe every day moving forward will be uncertainty, and I have to find comfort in this discomfort. Because ultimately that's actually what my life has been the whole time. Things that I thought would happen didn't turn out, or something else has affected the circumstances. So it's definitely bringing more to a presence at the moment where the actions I need to take today, and I'm on the trajectory that we're on rather than a destination. And then in that, being able to enjoy the journey, and I suppose in this context of sacred union, to integrate the feminine more, to support that masculine that can have a commitment to get somewhere, but also the freedom to not know where that is. Yeah, thank you.
Did you know that you were coming with me?
No,
Might be relevant.
I tried.
Can I grab that?
You want more? I guess what I'm resonating a lot with what you said, brother. It starts off with self-leadership, right? Like knowing what do I want, where do I go, who am I, first of all, and leading others, partners, family. And in my case, I was raised to be an obedient nice guy. To the point of I turned 18 and I thought I dropped like a hot potato, and like all of a sudden I had to lead myself, and I could never decide anything. I was always asked to, or I was always had to always ask for permission for anything. And it's still an ongoing journey. I mean, I'm traveling the world, doing my own businesses since years, but there's always this doubt. It's doubt of like, I trust in my own compass, so to say. Another topic that's coming up is loneliness, unacknowledged loneliness. Traditionally, men are much more competitive, I would say, where women are collaborative, and especially this. Speaking for myself, so my father, I only knew him in the suit, going to work very early, just when I wake up, and coming home just before I went to bed. I was like super serious, just emotionally completely stoned. And so I get a lot from people around me that they feel very healthy and safe and grounded and contained. And I'm still figuring out what the fuck that means. And I had a couple of experiences now for the last 5 years that I've been really diving into men's work. Where I had some really strong male role models that I admire over me, giving me that experience of not being the tree but leaning onto something as a tree. So I think for me one of the biggest lag that I have experienced as a boy growing up is really not having a strong male presence to lean on, to support. And the more I receive that, the more my inner body receives that experience later on now, the more I can step back, the more I can provide content.
I'll share really quickly. I kind of touched on it before, but for me the hardest thing about being a man is trying to live everyone else's expectation around what being a man is. So like some women wanted a strong man, some women wanted a soft, sensitive guy, so I was so busy trying to live everyone else's expectation that I just lost myself. And I had no idea who I am or what being a man meant. When the reality is, when am I not a man? Like I know, even if I'm soft, sensitive, fallen over, weak, whatever, I'm still a man. So understanding that, okay, nothing can take away even if I cut my penis off, I'm still a man, so nothing can take that away. So how do I become the best version of the man that I want to be? And then I just improve myself all the time. And many times I would lose myself to focus on the relationship. So instead of looking at spending time on me, focusing on me, my North Star, where I want to go, what's important to me, and then bringing along whoever I want to bring with me, I would let that go and then focus on her and spend all my time trying to make her happy, trying to show her that I'm a good guy and win her over. Like I used to try and win people over in the beginning, and then that's unsustainable because I can't maintain that. So even if my partner doesn't like that I'm going to a men's circle or that I need to go for a run or go to the gym, I go. And even if she doesn't like it, the fact that I go and I choose me, she respects more than if I don't and abandon myself for her.
Absolutely. Thank you for sharing. Yeah, I would like to ask. Oh.
Okay, we're going to jump back probably about 30 years ago. So it's, I grew up in England, where probably very much like what it is today, but in many respects. But sort of hanging out with guys. So I always and I still do get on with groups of guys, groups of girls, and I can just sit there and listen and hear what they're talking about and sort of really just blend in. And for guys it was very simple. For guys, when they used to talk about what they were looking for, it's about what people are looking for in each other. So what guys were looking for in a girl was great breasts or a great butt. That's it. That would be pretty much the conversation on repeat every time we went down to the pub. And that would be 10, 20 years apart. Just going back into time. I went travelling, went back, same conversation. But then when I was asking women as I was travelling, I was saying, what is it that you look for in a guy? And then the list would come out. Damn, there was a list. And in the beginning it was a bit of a shock. But it'd be like, he's got to be good, he's got to have he's got to be kind, he's got to have, a good job, he's got to be respected, and then the list just goes on. Actually, I used to do stand-up, I used to do speeches, and fun speeches, and I used to do that as I had like one of those Filofax pads, those? The old fax pads, the giant ones. Yeah, exactly. But they're like A4. And I'd go and I'd say that, I just want this or this, and girls, and I'd just You know, and it was a list of 30, 40, 50 minutes. And I used to remember with some people thinking, you know, there is no guy that I've met in the world that matches all of those phenomenal qualities. Right? And then some people, you know, as you get older, you know, you start meeting people who have been in relationships and so forth. And then they're no longer looking for the perfect guy. Their perfect guy is now embodied in a married man with kids. That says it all for them. So they're looking for, you know, in fact, I know some people actually, or one person, who wanted to be coached how to actually get this man that she fell in love with 30 years ago to break up from his wife and kids and come over with her and start a family. I just sat back thinking, and you know, and as a guy, I think that's, for me, traveling, okay, just so you know, I'm not talking a lot. No, just probably so how shall I conclude that? But I think there's just a lot of expectations that are thrown out, and I think for guys, there's no real reason, and probably that's why guys are more ready to jump in, and probably should be a bit wiser about the qualities that they're looking for, if their values don't meet. And at the same time, I think expectations are good to have, and there's a lot of learning to accept that people aren't going to be their perfect vision, you know, but that all comes through communication. Right? So, that's one thing.
Thank you so much.
I just want to speak to that point because it's a really good point. Like, you're never going to meet your king or your queen. Like, if Susanna, if she had a list that she came with, I would never match that list. So it's about how do we grow that list together. So I became a king for Susanna. She became my queen. But you won't meet them because they're not looking for you. They're already with whoever they're with, you know? Not necessarily.
That's exactly what I was thinking. So we think that we have to find the person that exactly like it is, but then there is no room to grow. The relationship is about growing together. And it's not about the 1 plus 1 that complement each other. It's 1 plus 1. It's still 1. Learning with each other, growing with each other, supporting each other to grow. I think I would never be able to be with him if he didn't support me to grow. And I think that the same happens here, right, man? So we support each other and we grow together. I mean, look at us now, even doing work together, not by chance, because he was already running men's circles. I was already running women's circles when we met. So the universe really put us together.
And we met 7 years before, no, 4 years before we actually got together. I didn't know she was running women's circles at Zest, where I was running men's circles on a different night. So we were in each other's field for like a few years before we actually...
And they always wanted to run mixed circles. Manifestation, of course. Bali.
I just want to say, guys, we're like almost on time, so we can carry on and chat, but if anybody needs to leave, please feel free to leave. Yeah?
So I have a question for the women here that were listening to the men. How did you feel about that? What do you think?
I was just like checking. I always try to kind of apologize with men because I think we don't, and I think the word is not apologize, but like to make them understand that we are the same confused sometimes, and that list is just a confusion list, and we think our logic is actually what is looking for the partner, but actually we have something much more special than is our intuition. So even if that man don't have any of that skills, he can definitely be our lover. So don't think about what we said, because we said a lot of things. Right, girls?
Yeah.
I know. Okay, thank you. So for us, it's more about how this make us feel. And I'm sure if you're already here, you know that this is the point. So yeah, it's not like an apologize, but it's kind of like sorry, because we sometimes don't know what to say, because we know how to manage this in a different way. not with words usually. Sometimes some girls are better with that, but some others are better with another ways to communicate or sense it. That's it.
So did you say I'm not apologizing? I'm saying I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna apologize.
no,
but I'm saying I'm
it's
sorry.
because I'm not saying I'm sorry, but it's kind of like I understand you. Yeah.
Anyone else?
Yeah, I just wanted to say it's just feels like an honor and a privilege to just listen to men, sharing their vulnerabilities and being brave enough to do that, in a circle of unknown people. So I just find that very powerful and appreciate it. Yeah, really want more of us to understand each other better.
Thanks for providing me. It's exactly what you're saying. That's why we do what we do. Yeah, just to build on that, I think it's so amazing to be hearing about the struggles that men face because I don't hear it very often, and it's actually like when my friends started talking about the kind of things that people talk about in men's circles, I was like, what do you guys have to talk about? I had no idea. And I think someone was talking about like the pressure. I think you were saying that like the pressure that you feel to prove yourself to be a man. I never feel pressure to prove myself to be a woman. Nothing ever will stop me from feeling like a woman. And I wonder why, I'm so curious why it's so different, I never will think like, even if someone takes away my uterus, I'm still like, yeah, of course I'm still a woman. I'm always a woman. Why is it that women don't have to prove that? I mean, am I right? Does it resonate with a woman? Like, we never have to prove ourselves to be women, I think.
Maybe because we just accept it as a fate, like, oh, we're women, okay. And men, they have to prove because society created a rule that they have to be the man. And we bought into it. And now that's the time that we're recreating. What does it mean to be a man now, this time, this moment, this lifetime?
Okay, can I just share just very quickly for this? So for me, like there was also, I had this added thing where I never went through puberty, so until really, really late. So size of cock matters to a man, yeah? Like, so for me, I was never a man. I got like my pants pulled down in school, I got, bullied and made fun of, and I didn't go through puberty till 17, but by then all the trauma had already happened, all the damage was done. So even I caught myself in my 30s, like when I developed normally and having enough, I was going to the gym, had the most ripped body of my life, still broken, still hiding when I get changed in the changing rooms, I talk about it in my book about the trauma of just that, like never ever being a man in my perception.